Imagine a world where one country controls the roads of the future. But what if that power was suddenly threatened? With new trade limits and tariffs aimed at Chinese electric cars, could this be the start of a huge shift in the EV industry around the world? Or is China's lead so strong that not even taxes can stop it? We're going to talk about this very important fight and what it means for the future of green transportation in today's video. Over the past 10 years, China's EV sector has grown at an unprecedented rate thanks to the country's generous government regulations, enormous manufacturing capacity, and rising EV demand worldwide. New difficulties are arising as China maintains its dominance in the EV market, especially in the shape of Western countries' tariffs. Asserting that China's EV industry unfairly benefits from government subsidies, the governments of the US, EU, and Canada are enacting tariffs and considering trade restrictions. The question still stands: will China's strong EV industry withstand the difficulties, or will these additional tariffs have a major effect on the country's EV dominance? The global EV demand, China's resilient market. As nations work to reach aggressive goals for cutting carbon emissions and advancing green technology, EV adoption has increased globally. Global EV sales increased steadily between 2021 and 2023, and this rising trend is anticipated to continue. Significant year-over-year sales increases in 2023 were reported by China's EV manufacturers, including well-known firms like BYD, Li Auto, NIO, and Xpeng, indicating their capacity to satisfy this rising demand. China, which has the biggest EV market in the world, manufactures cars for both domestic and foreign buyers who are keen to achieve their sustainability objectives. Western tariffs could be problematic, but the strong demand for EVs around the world should mitigate the effects. Many countries, particularly in Europe, have set goals for a significant portion of their automobile market to be made up of electric vehicles. Despite the tariffs, this worldwide momentum is probably going to maintain demand for Chinese EVs, especially in areas where they are accessible and reasonably priced. Tariffs. A two-sided blade, tariffs may have complicated effects on both supply and demand. By raising the cost of imports and incentivizing people to buy domestically made automobiles, high tariffs on Chinese EVs could safeguard local industries. The United States, for instance, increased its tariff on lithium-ion electric vehicle batteries from 7.5% to 25%, and European countries are considering enacting comparable regulations. Tariffs run the danger of offending a sizable portion of the market, though, because Chinese EVs are well liked globally due to their competitive cost and features, with an estimated 5 million sales at risk. If tariffs drastically reduce Chinese EV shipments, the impact may be severe. Even if Chinese EVs are more expensive, buyers may still choose them for their affordability and cutting-edge features. Despite tariffs, Chinese EVs may continue to be appealing as people around the world look for reasonably priced EV alternatives to replace gasoline-powered cars, especially in nations where high car prices would otherwise prevent the uptake of electric mobility. Trade tensions increasing and retaliation. China has demonstrated that it will retaliate against EV levies and has a history of reacting forcefully to trade restrictions. China has already started looking into the import of European goods like brandy, pork, and canola seeds in reaction to recent trade restrictions from North America and Europe. China continues to be a significant buyer in the agriculture industry, so any retaliatory actions may put pressure on international markets. China can put economic pressure on nations that impose tariffs on its electric vehicles by using its position as a significant global importer. Increased trade tensions could result from this tit-for-tat escalation, which would impact not only the EV sector, but also more general economic ties. Such trade battles have the potential to change the global EV landscape and the balance of trade alliances. China may look to form ties with countries like Latin America, Africa, and portions of Asia that are more open to Chinese exports. The subsidy debate. Are China's benefits fair? The idea that Chinese EV producers get an unfair competitive edge in the global market due to generous government policies and massive subsidies is a major justification for tariffs. In order to help EV producers establish a strong infrastructure, lower costs, and increase production, the Chinese government has in reality given them large subsidies, because businesses like BYD and NIO are able to sell EVs at lower rates than their Western rivals. Critics claim that these subsidies undermine market competition. Entering markets without tariffs, Chinese EV producers may decide to broaden their footprint in areas where their vehicles are not subject to tariffs as a possible reaction to higher taxes. Affordable Chinese EVs are expected to be welcomed by emerging markets in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, particularly as these regions seek to develop their own sustainable transportation industries. These markets could not have strict trade regulations and offer Chinese producers lots of chances to develop a devoted following and a recognizable brand. Chinese EV companies may keep up their growing momentum and partially offset the losses from constrained Western markets by concentrating on emerging economies. Such a change will strengthen China's position as the market leader for EVs, while avoiding high tariffs, increasing global EV adoption, and strengthening China's influence in developing nations. How long will high tariffs be maintained by the US and EU? If Western nations' marketplaces experience demand gaps that cannot be satisfied domestically, high tariffs may prove to be an expensive strategy. Cutting off a dependable, reasonably priced EV source could unintentionally lead to supply problems for Western automakers, who already face production and cost constraints. This is especially true if customer demand outpaces local EV manufacturers' capacity to meet demand. In these situations, Western governments may face pressure to gradually lower tariffs in order to strike a balance between market demands and protectionist measures. Furthermore, Chinese businesses may decide to invest in overseas production as a result of the hefty tariffs. It would be more difficult for governments to defend restrictive tariffs if businesses like BYD or NIO constructed manufacturing in the US or Europe, avoiding import duties while boosting local economies, innovation in technology as a differentiator. China has made significant investments in EV technology research and development, especially in the areas of software integration and battery manufacturing. Chinese businesses have been able to spearhead improvements in EV performance, charging effectiveness, and car autonomy. Thanks to this concentration on innovation, China's dedication to creative solutions that increase EV attractiveness is demonstrated, for instance, by BYD's Blade battery and NIO's battery swapping technology. These technological advantages give Chinese companies a competitive edge as the EV industry expands, attracting customers who value efficiency and functionality. Even if tariffs may make Chinese EVs more expensive in some regions, consumers who are prepared to pay more for cutting-edge technology may still be drawn to these cars due to their sophisticated features. Looking ahead, can China continue to lead in EVs? China's EV industry is probably strong enough to endure the effects of tariffs, despite the fact that they pose a significant obstacle. A strong domestic market, growth into tariff-free areas, and an emphasis on innovation all point to Chinese EV makers maintaining a major position in the global market. Tariffs are unlikely to sabotage China's long-term EV strategy, even though they might momentarily delay growth. The EV sector will continue to confront difficulties and changes in trade regulations as international markets grow more integrated. But China is well positioned for the future because to its well-established infrastructure, superior manufacturing skills, and emphasis on sustainability, China's hegemony in the EV industry is unlikely to end until Western countries can provide competitive alternatives to Chinese EVs or dramatically increase local manufacturing. Tariffs on Chinese EVs are a reflection of larger economic and geopolitical issues as countries attempt to strike a balance between environmental objectives and protectionist policies. China's EV expansion ambitions may be complicated by these taxes, but the country's sector has several instruments to adjust, including as a robust domestic market, strategic shifts to developing countries, and ongoing technology breakthroughs. As the world grows more dependent on electric mobility, China's hold on the global EV market is still strong for the time being. Thanks for tuning in. If you're excited to stay updated on groundbreaking insights like these, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next.